Well, Friday night was a severe weather day and night across the eastern half of our state. It's what we told you on Friday morning was likely to happen. We got some minor storms in our area, but our eastern friends in eastern Missouri down to the Mississippi Valley just got crushed. Multiple tornadoes across southeast Missouri, resulting in 12 deaths. Our buddy Scott Faughn, Missouri Times, was down there over the weekend helping out, obviously, his friends, the people he knows as a West Butler County guy. Scott, good morning. What can you share with us being on the ground down there and what this past weekend was like?
It's truly amazing to see a place you've seen your entire life, frankly, that doesn't change that much, totally just pulled apart. You know, when you see development, it comes a building at a time, a tract here, a tract there. But when the tornado comes through, the devastation is complete. So it's almost haunting to look and see all the places where there used to be development that now is just essentially just a wreckage site. Looks like a bomb went off. And the bizarre part is the randomness of it. It'll take out one cul-de-sac of houses. It'll skip over and hit a strip mall and everything in the middle. I mean, you could tell there was a storm, but there's really no significant damage. It's kind of the randomness of Mother Nature is kind of amazing when you actually see it up close.
Where have you been down there this weekend? What communities have been impacted the most?
Well, uniquely enough, I've been through the Rolla area, a little bit southeast on 44, a little bit northeast. Rolla was the epicenter of a lot of the damage. Their schools are closed for the next 2 weeks. And then Poplar Bluff was probably the second most damaged place. And their schools are closed all week at least. The entire kindergarten center was wiped out. Businesses that I've seen, buildings that I've seen my whole life are now just gone. It is a community that's really reeling right now.
What's the reaction on the ground? I think oftentimes this happens and we see, the worst of Mother Nature, but we also see the best of our neighbors. Is that the sense you're getting down there in both of those communities?
I think it is amazing in a small town. I've watched people in certain communities band together when there's a catastrophe, no question. But it's a little bit like organized, right? You have an organized Red Cross that gets there quickly. You have different groups that come and respond. This is just a neighbor seeing his neighbor's house destroyed. A guy he goes to church with and has known his whole life. They just come, right? Like in Rolla, they had to close a street because there was so many pickup trucks with chainsaws. They didn't quite know what to do with them all. It is a different way of life, but and there's some parts of that makes it challenging. But you don't have to send out a Facebook post for folks to show up and help their neighbor, and that really is kind of coming through. It was nice of Governor Keogh to come down. He is a beloved figure in southeast Missouri. You just look at the primary electorate totals. It was, it's interesting to see it. Like Mike Parson is from southwest Missouri, and I think had a good relationship with southeast Missouri. But Governor Keogh has been there more than any statewide politician I've ever seen, and he's only really ran for governor in a contested race. He is beloved, and it meant something. I watched it mean something to people that he took time to come. I used to think that was just photo op stuff, and I think that's still my, jaded German take on it. But I did watch Mike Keogh being there meant something to those people because they had seen him there when he was in need of their vote, and now they've seen him come back. And Mike Keogh in person is a powerful force, and it meant something to those people. There is a sense of pride in southeast Missouri that they were the ones that led, even his home area. Southeast Missouri led voting for Mike Keogh. But I mean, he had been there so many times, so many small towns, and now that he's back, it was the first time I've seen a visit like that really matter to people.
Scott Faughn is here, Missouri Times publisher, but of course, right now just a southeast Missouri, not resident right now, I guess, Scott, but obviously that's your hometown. That's the area you know as well as any part of the state. And the preparation, was there the usual lead time that you would get with these tornadoes where people knew, hey, we knew all day storms are going to come, they were going to hit that side of the state, and they could be pretty severe. Were there any issues on that front that you're aware of, or was it just your standard, hey, we knew this was coming, and we were as prepared as we possibly could be.
I honestly think there's these things, when you get a tornado watch, right?
Yeah.
It's for 10, 12 counties sometimes.
Yes.
We all knew that the entire state, I think everybody was kind of like canceling their Friday night plans and saying, well, we probably should stick closer to the house. We saw storms in Cole County, pretty significant storms. It was like knock over your lawn furniture wind.
Mm-hmm.
In Poplar Bluff, it could have been Ripley County, could have been Carter, could have been Wayne, could have been Stoddard. It was Butler. So you're as prepared as you could be. Talking to emergency management officials, yes, they cancel their plans when there's possible weather. But, if you're in Scott County, you didn't see much damage. If you're in Butler County, you did. And it's really just kind of up to God who ends up getting the brunt of it. So it's kind of hard to prepare in detail. The SEMA folks, everybody's bragging on them. They're there right away. It's going to be interesting. I saw in North Carolina, you had a bunch of Trump voters that a lot of folks felt like didn't get taken care of all that well. Well, let me just tell you, in Southeast Missouri, they love Trump. This is the epicenter of Trump. If Trump ran for emperor, they'd vote for him unanimously. It'll be interesting to see how FEMA responds to this natural disaster, and I hope they do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Scott, what do you want to make sure people in Kansas City know or are keeping in mind, any ways that they can help in terms of what's going on down there after what hit that side of the state with 12 people now confirmed dead from those tornadoes on Friday?
Well, we are very grateful. Number one, it is something we don't say often, but a lot of these state resources are frankly funded by Kansas City. Kansas City puts more into the pill than they take out. And this is a time that I think folks need to be grateful for that. Number two, your co-ops and your Evergy folks. A tornado, is a little, the power comes on quicker because, like I said, it jumps from neighborhood to neighborhood, then it leaves. But I've seen trucks from co-ops in the Kansas City area. They had to leave the minute they heard because there's no way they could have got here that quickly. I just want to express gratitude on behalf of my part of the state to Kansas City for your linemen, for your emergency folks, and for your tax dollars. I mean, we all like to bash the government, but when you have a disaster like this, it's very nice to see the government show up, and a lot of that bill for them showing up is footed by Kansas City. So I think this is one of those acute times when it's very proper to express gratitude for the generosity of the people of Kansas City.
Well, Scott, we will leave it there, my friend. Are you going to be down there for at least the early part of the week, or what's your plans down there?
I had to come up to St. Louis today, but then I'll be going back tomorrow. And you bring us on, you do what you can do.
Where are you going to be down there tomorrow?
Poplar Bluff.
Okay.
I'll go back to Poplar Bluff, and you see where you can help, and you try to, it's one of those things where you take your assignment and you go wherever they want to send you. So I'm coming up to St. Louis. We're going to buy all the 2-cycle chainsaw oil I can buy and head back south tomorrow.
All right, Scott. We appreciate you, my man. We will check in soon. Thanks so much for being here.
You bet. Talk to you later.
All right, Scott Faughn. You know him from the Missouri Times, but a former mayor of Poplar Bluff who is now back there helping out his folks after the death toll did reach 12 in those tornadoes over the weekend. And to give you that rundown, 6 of those deaths in Wayne County, 1 in Butler County, 1 in Jefferson County, 1 in St. Louis County, and 3 in Ozark County, Missouri. So appreciate Scott giving us those updates and sharing that with us here on KCMO. You also had, 7 people die in a dust storm that overtook I-70 on Friday out by Goodland. That was a 70-car pileup. I think it was actually 8 dead in a 70-car pileup after a dust storm blew in from northeast Colorado. Of course, that brought wind in through Kansas City on Friday afternoon. We had some fires pop up. There was, I think, the largest one out on K10 that I was smelling on my back porch on Friday night. I was out at the Big 12 tournament. I get back, and Kate told me that she was grilling, but the grill wasn't working because the wind kept blowing it out. She goes, "Can you go out there and check on the grill?" I went out there. I thought the grill was still on. And then I'm like, wait, that's not the grill. That's the sky. And that's because of this brush fire that shut down K10 for a period of time. out off Kill Creek out there in DeSoto. So it was just a weird weather weekend. The death toll across the country from these storms has surpassed 40 as of the most recent numbers this morning from the Associated Press.